Hello, everybody. Nathaniel from RC Insight here. And about a month ago, I made a video talking about how there were new Perplexus puzzles coming very soon. And well, less than a month later, we've had at least one new Perplexus revealed. That is the Perplexus Star Wars The Mandalorian. Now, this is really interesting, particularly in light of the development of Rubik's Tracks more recently, which is a video I'm still working on. I'm going to talk about that. And it's kind of really interesting because I think it tells us a lot about the future of the Perplexus brand. This is a Perplexus branded puzzle, and it's returned to the collaboration with Star Wars a decade after the release of the Death Star Perplexus. So really interesting stuff here. I think it points a little bit to the future of Perplexus as a brand. I'm thinking that these IP licensed collaborations probably the direction Perplexus is going to go. I might talk about that more in another video, but let's talk about this specifically. The Mandalorian is a fascinating choice for a Perplexus. Let's just kind of go through these pictures here. There's 6. We'll go through them one by one because, again, I'm on vacation right now, so we don't have video. I'm just doing audio. I'll put the images up on the screen for you, obviously, and we'll kind of just go through these one by one and talk about it. So right off the bat here, we look at the box pick, and we can see it's 8+. 80 obstacles, and that's really interesting because I just look at this. This looks jam-packed with details, and my first impression is there's a lot of kind of new or different looking obstacles in here too. Like, just this appearance of the Perplexus at first glance looks different than some of the past Perplexuses in a good way. It's like, it feels like a real evolution, I think, of the brand for me. So I really like that a lot. But the 80 obstacles is really super interesting because it just looks to me to be much more sort of in the scale and density of like the Epic, the Death Star, the Portal. But those are all over 100 obstacles. This one's down at 80, which is less than the original. It's much closer to the Rookie in terms of length, the Rebel, the Rookie, whatever it's called these days. So yeah, I mean, and we know that obstacle numbers doesn't necessarily determine this overall size and scale of a Perplexus because we've seen with the Twist is basically the same size as the original and it's only got 30 obstacles in it. So, definitely some room for variation there, but interesting nonetheless that this is quote unquote shorter than some of the previous Perplexuses, but scale wise, it still looks to be up there at the top of the bigger, most complex Perplexuses, which I love. So move on to the second image. Now here from the side, what's fascinating is it does look a little less dense. The things that stand out to me, I didn't talk about it from that first main image. There's obviously a button here. There's one button. It looks kind of similar to the Portal in terms of mechanism. And then there's just some really cool looking, like lots of spirals and turns and twists, some stair pieces, lots of gaps in the track as well. Just lots of stuff that jumps out at me. Visually, it looks striking, and even if maybe the obstacles aren't way different than what we've seen before, visually they're presented in a new way, which is awesome because I think the visual aspect of Perplexus is underrated. There's also some elements here that kind of remind me a little bit of those sharper image puzzles, particularly this kind of circular loop section in the top right there. We move on from this kind of more front angle. Again, all of a sudden now you see it looks much more densely packed. There is a ton of track in here moving in all sorts of different directions. Again, I love how much the track makes use of space. Like you can see, and this is something the Death Star did a lot of too. There's lots of parts where you can just literally see through the track, whether it's grooved track or there's some little holes here and there. I love the aesthetic of it. You'll also notice here that very similar to the original, it looks like we've got kind of 3 main starting points or checkpoints, and I believe the end is that orange clamshell looking thing in the middle. But yeah, we've got 3 checkpoints right all lined up next to each other at the beginning. So that's very similar to the layout of the original, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so when we look at this in the display stand here, we get a better image of that center piece, which I believe is the finish line. Also, if we just kind of take a look at this, we'll get a look at the color scheme as well. The color scheme does feel very Mandalorian-esque, very deserty. You know, we've got these sort of duller browns and sandy colors. The blue is a nice accent. And is maybe a bit of an homage to the more traditional Mandalorian blue colors. And so overall, I think, you know, the color aesthetic of this Perplexus is not my favorite, but I think it's fitting for the Mandalorian, what it's trying to kind of recapture and recreate. I do think that color aesthetic feels very Mandalorian-esque, even if the overall sort of color combination here is not my favorite. Those sandy colors with that blue Mandalorian accent look pretty good. And yes, this play feature here with the little button really fascinates me. I'm going to be very curious to see how that interacts with the track. Obviously, most modern Perplexuses have some sort of gimmick. I really liked the gimmick on the portal, and this at a glance appears to be similar, but there's only the 1 button rather than the 3. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that all comes together and works. It is available for pre-order now, if I'm not mistaken. Release looking like it's the beginning of August, so you know that I'll be getting this right away, reviewing it, getting a walkthrough up for you guys. I think I've kind of blabbered on enough about this. It's almost like 10 minutes of me talking about this silly brand new Perplexus. I'm super excited. This really, really gives me hope for the future of the brand, and I was a little concerned, you know, at some point, especially with the Rubik's Tracks rebrand. So I'm really glad to see more stuff is still coming, and you can be sure that I'll be covering this in detail when it is released. So I'm going to leave this video here. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this new Perplexus reveal in the comments down below. I'd absolutely love to know what you think about it. If you like this video, leave a like. It's a great way for you to show your support. And if you're not already subscribed and you're interested in Perplexus, well, my channel is the place to be on YouTube for Perplexus. I have everything Perplexus on my channel, so subscribe so you don't miss my Perplexus videos when they come out, including my walkthrough and review of the Perplexus Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I can't wait to talk about this further, but this is going to be it for now. So I will see you all in the next one.